Alright. Think we're good to go now. Yes, we are. Alright, welcome back to F1 Broke Boys Tier 3, and it's time for the Austrian Grand Prix Round 2 of the season. And as you can clearly see, it's pouring it down right now in qualifying. Around the shortest track of the calendar. Full wet conditions, at least in the beginning of this qualifying session. Last week we had the season opener at the Bahrain Grand Prix where we saw Sol take the win ahead of Kainzan, overtook him on the final lap of the race. Incredible race it was for him and for Kick Sauber as well, as his teammate got P3, so double podium for Sauber. See them taking the lead in the Constructors' Championship, 21 points clear of Alpine already. And Aston Martin under point back. Jumpy Painter was the other Sauber who finished P3. And Wardy in P4. So that's how we look going into this race. But it's time to go with qualifying, and this track is already quite difficult with track limits. And with this visibility, it's going to make it even harder to keep your car within the white lines. 15 minutes remaining at the moment. Nobody has set a lap time yet. Battle Botan finally is going to serve his qualifying ban. I think he had it already since halfway of last season. Good to have him back. He will start at the back of the grid in P20. Let's see who's the first one who is going to set a lap time. Is it one of the McLarens? I think it might be Sapphire. Botan retires from the session, that confirms. But Sapphire is going to be fun to set a lap time first with a 1:15.016, putting him at the moment in P1. But I'm sure that is going to change throughout this session. Asa about to start his lap. Tier 4 champion of last season, Sly DJ, has invalidated his 59, exactly 9/10 behind Sapphire, so probably backed off as well as soon as he crossed the white line. Here the winner of last week's on the intermediate tire in the Kick Sauber, and he's 1:17.72 and a half seconds off, even more on the inter. So at the moment I think the full wet must be the quicker tire. So that's quite a significant gap. As Kainzan in the Alpine goes second, and Boyern in the Williams goes quickest into the 1:14s. 3/10 ahead of the McLaren. Runner-up in the championship last season, Tolu, he goes into P3 just ahead of his teammate, and he's also on the intermediate tires. So that's interesting to see that he can find the pace on the inters. Wardy on full wets has gone up to P3 on the second row. Parzival in the meantime, and the other McLaren, he's gone 50. These are all on the full wet tire, with Soul Demon and Tolu the only ones who set their lap time on inters. Critical Skills also on the intermediates, and he goes into P6, 8/10 off though. So at the moment I still think that the wets are the quickest, but maybe near the end of the session we will see the intermediate being the advantage. At the moment Tolu is still 7.5/10 off. Braking towards turn 2 is going to be wild in those conditions. Indeed it is. Into that hairpin, which not everyone agrees on that it is a hairpin, but I'm going to call it a hairpin. You have no choice, but yeah, it's already tricky enough in the dry with cars bunching up, going 2-3 wide. It's a very narrow hairpin. In wet, visibility even lower. It's so easy to make contact, to just slightly tap the rear of the car head ahead of you. That's gonna something we're gonna have to watch out for. But I don't know if it's gonna rain in the race as well. I can't see the weather forecast, unfortunately. I do know that it's raining in qualifying, as you can very clearly tell by these conditions. Soul Demon, I think he has improved on his lap time. It's now just over a second off the Williams. Worst braking point in the game. Probably a fair shout as Mercedes of Sly DJ goes up to the front row. last week Bahrain turned 10. That's also a very tricky braking zone. As Soul Demon, there we go, confirmation on the intermediates. He goes quickest with a 1:14.5. Kai in the Haas goes up to P3, so conditions seem to be improving. And lap times will start to drop. Still only half the drivers have set their lap times. Two Ferraris of Haas and S12 down in 12 and 13 respectively. Sketchy Grip has just gone up to P11. And that is Lennon's up to P9. It's quite busy around the final corner. Yeah, look, 3 cars right behind each other. Alpha Wall was one of them. And I think that's Sapphire. Yeah, he's gone up to P3 now. Quite close. They're in between Boren and Kai. Jumpy Painter has gone up to P5. Critical Skills to P6. The gaps are starting to get close again, like we saw last week. The top 5, I think, with it in a tenth of a second. It was so incredibly close in qualifying. But it usually is here in Tier 3. And Soul Demon's gone even faster. 1:14.1. And now his advantage is half a second towards Boren. But Boren, I think he's only done 1 lap in this qualifying session. I'm sure he is going to be able to find some time as well. Kieran in the Aston Martin, he's gone 7th. And Kieran is returning to Tier 3. Making his season 12 debut. He did drive the mystery round last season. I think that was around Melbourne. It's currently a Sauber front row lockout. Jumpy Painter's gone to 2nd place. He's still on the full wet tire. So the wets don't seem to be that far off. Tires might actually be quite similar then. 2 Saubers on inters and wets, separated by less than 2 tenths. Oh yeah, and speaking of Sapphire, he is also returning to Tier 3 again. And funnily enough, the Red Bull Ring was the track where he made his Tier 3 debut on in Season 10. Bit of a coincidence, and good to have him back as well. Currently sat in P5. Quite a steady job so far. Still looks like heavy rain, but inters aren't that slow at all. Only 1 driver remains to set a lap time, and that is Zimniak. But he did have some connection issues earlier on in the session. Now he arrives into the penultimate corner, quite far from the apex, missing it. Struggling for grip on the exit as well. Massive tank slapper, but he has kept it within the white lines. Puts him into P15, and right behind him was Sapphire, and he did improve as well. Now onto the 2nd row of the grid, P4, but gets replaced by Wardy, and Boren now goes quickest on his 2nd attempt at 1:14.0, getting near the 1:13s. Of course, you don't really have a benchmark in wet conditions, as wet conditions are never the same. Williams now overturning in this qualifying session. It was a Sauber 1-2 a moment ago. And now it's a Williams front row lockout. Sketchy Grip has gone 3rd, but there goes Kieran in the Aston Martin going on top. With 1:14.0 as well, 12 thousandths separating himself and Boyan. Kieran making his debut this season. And he is doing a very good job indeed. As he's currently on provisional pole position with just over 7 minutes remaining. There goes Jumpy Painter, 4 tenths quicker and well into the 1:13s. I think we're gonna see these lap times just dropping and dropping and dropping throughout these final 7 minutes. So you would want to be the last car on track when the flag is gonna fall. So track position is gonna be very important at the end of this session. Currently it's all about getting those lap times in getting more comfortable in the wet conditions, because it's definitely not going to dry up in this session. Quite a few drivers in pit lane right now. Kai in the Haas makes his way around the final corner, and 1:14.2 puts him right behind his teammate. And in 7th place, and Sapphire was just in P3 moments ago. Now it's all the way back down to P8. That's just how quickly the track improves. The two Alpines of Toto and Kainzon have been on the intermediates since the beginning. Kainzon 2nd place last week, currently down in P13, but he's on another lap. And he already finds 0.2 of a second through sector 1, which is basically a 90-degree right-hander and 2 straights. The real time gain will be in sectors 2 and 3. At the moment he's 1.4 seconds of Jumpy Painter. Bit of a moment coming out of turn 4. Into turns 6 and 7, both left-handers. And he's up on his time. Kind fuel in the Red Bull. In the meantime, he's gone up to 6th. Can Kainzon put it on the front row? It's 4/10. As the run to the line at 1:13.9, and he can put it on the front row. 3/10 off, and there goes Kieran at 1:12.989. What a lap from the Aston Martin. 6/10 clear of Jumpy Painter. Brilliant lap. But will it be enough? Tolo in the other Alpine. He is now into P3, so 2nd row as it stands for the French team. But now they have been separated by critical skills. Now Aston Martin quite in a handy position. P1 and P4. But anything can change in these dying minutes. Haza only P15. Ahead of the man who qualified on pole position last week in Bahrain, Parzival. Not having a great time tonight in qualifying in these conditions. Currently down at P16 and 2.2 seconds of pole position. Same could be said for Just Football FC. Haven't really seen him out on track. Must have had a few invalidations, because his best lap time is 4 seconds off. Parzival, he's on a good improvement though, 9/10 up, which could potentially boost him all the way into the top 10, maybe even the top 5. Keep it within the white lines in this final sector, so keeping it nice and clean. And run to the line, he goes up to P4, that's what I'm talking about. 1.5 second improvement. 3.5 minutes to go. Everyone will be improving. Sapphire was up by 4/10. Unfortunately though, has invalidated 1:13.5. Would have put him in P2, I think. So that's very unfortunate that he has invalidated. Lennon's in the Red Bull, goes onto the front row. Good improvement as well. And there goes Sly DJ. P4. And then we look at the Kicksauer of Soul Demon, race winner of last week. Can he go fastest? Not quite, misses out by just over 1/10 of a second. But he has put it on the front row. And now Wardy's gone up to P3. The Williams drivers down in P11 and 12. Sketchy Grip on a good improvement. Up to P5. And Bourne is now making his way into the final sector. Kainzon into the pit lane with 2 minutes to go. This might actually be the end of qualifying for Kainzon, who was in contention for the race win last week, as Boyan goes quickest. 1:12.919 is under 1/10 of a second ahead of Kieran, who is on his outlap as well. But Kainzon might be in trouble here, as time is running out to get back out on track. and he could potentially have to start this race from the back of the grid. Jumpy Painter then, and he goes fastest, 1:12.8. Getting close between these drivers. R5 wall to P15. But what can this man do? Kieran about to start his lap with still 1 minute 14 remaining, so it's going to be very, very tight. He potentially could do another lap after that, but you have to keep some ERS in the battery. 1 minute to go. Parzival up to P5. Purple first sector for Kieran. Born is going to start his final lap now. Sapphire has now gone up to P8. Then we look at the two Ferraris still down in 17 and 19. Not having a great qualifying session at all. But Kieran is up on his time by 0.2 of a second. This could be the pole lap. No, Boyan is also improving by 1/10 of a second. This is going to be very close. As Kieran is making his way into the final corner. 8 seconds remaining. He doesn't have a lot of ERS in the battery, so this will be his final lap for sure. Kieran across the line. Is he going to go faster? He does go fastest. 1:12.65. And Egas Wardy up into second place, misses out by 1.5 tenths. And now we look at the rest of them. Tolu is next in the Alpine. Kainton has missed out. He's not going to do another lap. Tolu has gone up to P6. As Kai now has gone P12. Kind Fuel P14. So McLaren is slow out of the final corner. That's parts of all. Lennons is on a good lap as well. But let's take a look at Boran. Is he gonna go and take pole position? No, missing out by just under 0.2 of a second. Sapphire has invalidated, unfortunately. Asa only P15. And Soul Demon, he's invalidated as well. So Jumpy Painter. Could he deny Kieran pole position? Lennons on to the second row as well. A Jumpy Painter to the line, but he can't do it. He didn't improve on his final lap. And is that the end of qualifying? Only R5 Wall left to improve, but he is nowhere near pole position. He goes only 17th. And that is Kieran then on pole position in his debut this season. What a performance, 1.5 tenths towards Wardy, with a great qualifying for him as well. On the front row, plenty of possibilities for a potential race win tonight. But Aston Martin is on pole. Wardy in second, then it's Lennons, Boran, Jumpy Painter, Soul Demon, Tolu, Parzival, Sly DJ, and Sapphire completing the top 10. Sketchy Grip, Kai, Critical Skills, Kind View, Haza, Kainzan, P16, Alpha Ball, Zimniak, Just for Plus C, and Balabout on P20 after having to serve a qualifying ban. And now we're going to prepare ourselves for the race, and we will find out quite soon. Actually, now it is dry, at least at the start of the race. It's quite overcast, so I don't know if it's going to rain in this race. Yes, we will just have to wait and see. Take a few minutes. Well, thank you, Kainson, for the weather forecast. Dry at the start, then it's going to be wet, and then it's going to be dry towards the end. So, well, that is going to be one hell of a race, which is going to make things very interesting indeed with the strategy. these are the most exciting races, with changing weather conditions throughout the race. This is going to put every driver to the test, testing their adaptability. They've had some practice now in the wet, so plenty of opportunities. Kieran on pole, and he has selected the hard compound, the soft compound tire. So need 2 icons of dry, then light rain for 2, then heavy rain for an icon as well, and then back to light rain and dry as the last one. So definitely an interesting weather forecast. And we had rain in the season's finale at Abu Dhabi, and now we have this as well. So plenty of excitement. Quite a mixed grid with the tires. A lot of drivers on softs, and also quite a few on mediums, and Kai as the only one on the hards, even though rain is coming quite soon. We are gonna see how that is gonna pan out for him. Anton says it's already raining. On my screen it's still very much dry. But I wouldn't trust it for staying dry any longer. We are in for a real treat with this weather. Around the shortest track, all in Canada, 36 laps ahead of us. Top tier entertainment. It's time to go. Kieran on pole position. Wardy alongside, the 5 red lights are on, and now they are out for the Austrian Grand Prix. Kieran has a good start and is able to maintain the lead of the race. Lennon's already having a look around the outside of Wardy into turn 1. Contact between Wardy and Kieran. Wardy sending it up the inside, but the gap was closing and he's dropped down to P9, while Kieran remains in the lead of this race. Ahead of Lennon's, then it's Boyan, Soul Demon, Parzival and Jumpy Painter, and that is Parzival all out of shape into the airpin. Oh, bit of contact once again with Parzival. And the 2 Saubers losing out a lot of positions as Kieran has lost out to Lennons, who is taking the lead of this race after turn 4. The Red Bull driver now into P1. Then it's Kieran, Boyan and the 2 Saubers, and then is Jumpy Painter fighting it out with Sapphire on his outside. Now is inside for turn 6, and Sapphire gets ahead of the Kick Sauber. He's now up into the top 5 and running a bit wide though. Ahead of Jumpy Painter, who is on the medium compound tire. Total P7, Wardy dropped down to P8, Partsful in P9 on the softs, and Kind Fuel in the Red Bull completes the top 10. Let's take a look at the tires. So softs and mediums mixed. It's gonna be a case of when the rain is gonna arrive. On to lap 2 we go. Lennon's in the lead of the race, but you don't really want to be leading this, as you got 3 consecutive DRS zones, as that's one of the Saubers going off in the background. That's Jumpy Painter. Rejoins ahead of Toto. Here comes Kieran though, back for the lead. Around the outside into turn 3. Wheel to wheel we go. And Kieran now with the better acceleration is able to pull in front of the Red Bull. Now Boyan also having a look at the Red Bull. Boren is on the mediums. He's now under pressure from Soul Demon as well. Having half a look into turn 4. But the Williams driver stays in front of the Sauber. Sapphire down in P5. Jumpy Painter, Tolu. Bartwell, Wardy and Country still there in P10 ahead of Critical Skills. And then it's a bit of a gap towards the two Ferraris who have made good progress, it must be said. But Josh Fupalassi is just barely within the DRS range. His teammate is not, and is leading another DRS train down to P19 with Kainsan all the way down to P19. What has happened to him? Poor start from him as well. Balabotan down at P20. So he's had something as well in this race. Kieran leads ahead of Lens, Boren and Soul Demon. Sapphire now under pressure from Jumpy Painter. I think the rain is already falling on lap 3, so the softs definitely the tire of choice. But here comes Boren for the double overtake up the inside of Kieran. What a move! But Kieran now with the switchback pulls underneath, has the better traction, and now gets ahead of Boren into the wall. Into the background goes Sapphire. What has happened on the third DRS straight? Did he make contact with someone? He's got front wing damage as he's slammed into the wall. Was it with one of the kick Saubers maybe, as Malabotant has received a 10-second time penalty for speeding, and Jumpy Painter, he has got damage to his front wing. Critical Skills losing out all sorts of positions. It's all kicking off as the rain starts to fall around the Austrian Grand Prix circuit. Meanwhile, Kieran remains in the lead, ahead of Boyan. Then it's Lennons and Soul Demon. Lennons seems to be struggling a bit, as we see Boyan taking the lead, gets ahead of Kieran. Balabotan is already retired from the session, but at least he's got rid of his qualifying ban. Indeed a good shout towards the soft drivers. Here's Boren again having a look, but he thinks the better of it, stays behind for now. Soul Demon and Lennons going wheel to wheel. The Red Bull on the inside, Sauber on the outside, but Soul struggling for grip. Now on the outside, as Kainsan, the first one to receive a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Soul around the outside, still side by side between these two, but Lennon just can't put the power down, and that is Tolu now ahead as well. Tolu making up some ground in this race, already gaining a few positions. It's a huge gap, by the way, towards Jumpy Painter, who's got front wing damage. So the top 6 is clear of these guys. On to lap 5 we go. Still nobody into the pit lane for intermediates yet, so still too dry. At least the track has Bourne once again on the inside, takes the lead, but that's not really a pitch. He wants to go for the move, and he's making contact between himself and Kieran, and Bourne has spun around on the exit of turn 1. That was really never gonna work out. And now Kieran, as a result of that, drops down to P5. And what the hell is going on back here as Wardy fighting it out with Jumpy Painter. Parzival up to P4. For some reason Tolu into the lead of this race. This is all kicking off here in Spielberg. Tall Demon though still on his outside, but that will turn to the inside line. So Sol should be able to take that position away, and he does. So the winner of last week is back into the lead of this race. Ahead of Tolu, then Spartful, Jumpy Painter, Wardy and Kieran. He's down to P7 and he's got front wing damage as well. His race has truly fallen apart, and he will be entering the pit lane as well. Make sure to not hit anyone on the outside, and he's not the only one. Soul Demon and Tolu as well are race leaders into the pit lane, presumably for a set of intermediate tires. As we're on lap 6. With the amount of action we've already seen, it feels like we're on lap 20. But that is intermediates fitted. Oh, and Soul Demon onto the hards. He's made a massive blunder. He forgot to select the intermediates. You really cannot write this stuff, as our championship leader is thrown onto the hards in P16, and his race is well and truly over unless there's a safety car. This is unbelievable stuff. Lance has now inherited the race lead ahead of Parzival in the McLaren, and then it's Jumpy Painter with that front wing damage, currently in a podium position. Yellow flags are out, and is that Kainzon facing the wrong direction? It is into turn 4. So P1 and P2 in the championship are P15 and P16 right now, and I think Kainzon has got front wing damage as well for good measure. I can't really see it from this shot, but more drivers putting into the pit lane. What is happening here? Alpha Wall has gone off with front wing damage. It's absolute carnage in tier 3 again. As we see carnage in the pit lane as well. VSC, virtual safety car, has been deployed, which really does not surprise me with all these drivers with front wing damage. Sapphire with a 10-second penalty for exceeding track limits. How does one manage that? I guess that's kind of good news for Soul Demon, because he can now get the intermediates. So he's not going to be too far off. Drive through for Zimniak and for Wardy as well. No, for Wardy as well. Our race leader Wardy has picked up a drive through penalty himself, Zimniak and Haza. Wow, I really don't have many words for what I'm seeing, what I'm witnessing. This is by far the most chaotic 7 laps I have ever seen in any league race. Absolute chaos indeed. Wardy into the pit lane, but he can't switch on the intermediates because he has to serve a drive-through penalty first. And his teammate though is going to the pit lane. He can make that pit stop. Critical Skills and Sly DJ, these 4 are the only ones left to make a pit stop, as the pit lane speed limit bollard has been smashed into pieces. But Lennon's now clear track ahead of him. Clear track behind him as well a bit. 7/10 towards Tolu. As it's starting to calm down a little bit while the rain has fallen. Wardy is now in P6, but he's on the mediums. He's going to be losing so much time. He will have to pit at the end of this lap as well. Kind Fuel almost making contact with Jumpy Painter. And Jumpy Painter replaced his front wing, and he's only lost 1 position. He was P3 for a while others had already pitted. He has front wing damage, and now he's in P4, so that just shows how much chaos is happening in this race. Sketchy grip up the inside of Wardy, struggling on those mediums. Really nothing he can do to defend, as he makes a bit of contact with Shashfupal FC. And Shashfupal FC, if I remember correctly, started in the last place, or at least ahead of Palo Boton. I can't find it. Oh, there we go. 12 positions gained from P19 to P7 in 9 laps, as Wardy now does enter the pit lane. And Kind Fuel must be mentioned as well. He's gained 9 positions from P14 to P5. And Wardy now, he's gonna come out in dead last. Joining at the back, Kainzon. Soul Demon, he's down in P14. This is a race filled with opportunities for drivers who have not won a race before. And one of them is Lennons. He is leading this race by 0.8 of a second over Tolu. And could potentially win his first race, but still 27 laps remaining, and absolute carnage unfolded in the first 8. Who knows what's going to happen, because we do know that it's going to dry up at some point again. Oh, 3-second penalty for Shashupal FC. And he's getting overtaken as well. Kai has got past, and Ferrari a bit out of shape through the final 2 corners there. And Kieran, after all that, he is in a steady P7, but he was our race leader for a bit in this race until he got he had this incident with Boyern, who is down at P12 by the way. But everyone who was in the lead of this race at some point is fallen down the order due to some sort of incident. That is critical skills now up the inside of S12. The late braking gets past the Ferrari, and critical skills now up at the P9. Good progress from him as well to keep it on track, and that is Sapphire struggling for grip, and he's getting overtaken there by Boyern, and he will be under pressure as well from Sly DJ. What has happened to Toto? Toto way out of the final corner. Something has happened surely. That must be, to me it looked like maybe his wheel disconnected or something disconnected, because as he was coming out of the final corner he just kept turning right instead of straightening up. So something happened to the man who was chasing the race leader, and yet another contender is falling down the order because Toto has now got front wing damage. This race is absolutely cursed. I am praying for Lennons that nothing happens to him. Asa retires from the session in pit lane. All contact between Jumpy Painter and Parzival, who sent it up the inside. He does get the position, he does get ahead, but Jumpy Painter is going to back up the inside, still wheel to wheel between himself and the McLaren through the second sector. Jumpy Painter now on the inside, Parzival on the outside, and the Sauber just edges ahead of the McLaren. Parzival now, surely don't go over the move into the penultimate corner. He is going to try it though, as we go wheel to wheel. Jumpy Painter though cleverly backs off. Parzival now to second place, but they lost a full second towards Lennons. The gap's now over 3 seconds. Well, these two keep fighting. Lennons just gonna extend his lead at the front. He doesn't mind too much if these two fight a lot. Tolu, despite his front wing damage, is continuing on. Probably with the knowledge that a safety car is just around the corner. And Jumpy Painter re-overtakes Parzival for second place. Parzival now coming back. Turn 4, the Sauber stays in front now on the exit. These two continuing to fight it out. Meanwhile, Jumpy Painter's teammate is fighting it out with the other McLaren. So the McLarens and the Saubers fighting each other. Except one is fighting for P2 and the other for P12. Yes, for certain, this race, despite only having seen 13 laps, will already go down into the history books for all the action, all the carnage, all the chaos in those opening few laps. 23 laps remaining. S12, he's dropping behind. He's been overtaken by Sapphire and he's now making contact with Soul Demon. That could have ended very badly if they connected the wheels for a little bit longer. So close between these two. S12 now drops behind, and that is Soul Demon up the inside. Contact between himself and Sapphire, but he does get the position. Not without contact though. Up to P11 he goes. That is Kieran dropping behind. Kieran has spun in turn 4. Our pole sitter, his race is going from bad to worse. He's now dropped down to P9. I think he was fighting with Sketchy Crip and Kai for P6. Kind Fuel is not being very kind to the track limits, as he's picked up another 3-second time penalty. He's actually entering the pit lane. As we got S12 FC, he's gone off in turn 8. And Kieran into the pit lane as well, so not sure what we're doing. Kind Fuel is retired from the session while running in P4. I'm not quite sure why he would do that. He must have had some sort of reason. Kieran though Spirit as Super C's retired from the session as well, so that brings our total to 4 retirements on lap 14. New set of intermediates for Kieran, comes out in last place, just behind Wardy. Jumpy Painter and Parzival, they've stopped fighting a bit, now they are closing the gap towards Lennons. Gaining a few tenths down to 2.3. And it was around 3.5 a few laps ago. I don't think Jumpy Painter's won a race before either in Tier 3, and neither has Parzival, so the entire top 3 could be winning their first races, which is always exciting. Could be mistaken though, but from my memory, neither one of these 3 have won a race before. And the gap is now under 2 seconds, wider line from Jumpy Painter. Does get a little bit of a better exit, at least compared to Parzival. Critical Skills doing a good job in this race in P6, but make that P5 into turn 4. Another position gained. He's now looking at the back of Tolu, who has that front wing damage, and the rain is definitely getting lighter now. Oh, what has happened to Tolu? What has happened there then? Tolu slowing down out of nowhere. Did something disconnect again, and that is caught out. Critical Skills very unlucky in the Aston Martin. Nothing he could do to avoid that. And I sure hope that he didn't get front wing damage from that. And he didn't, so I guess that's the only lucky thing he does with that. But that is so unfortunate for Critical Skills. He was making very good progress, and Tolu having problems. Call out Critical Skills as well. Meanwhile, the gap at the front is under a second now. Jumpy Painter fully closed the gap towards Lennons. Set of intermediates for Tolu. Might need a new set of equipment as well. Appears to be he's been struggling. The connection issues. That is now promoted a sketchy grip to P4. He's fighting it out with Kai. And Boren, after all that, is up to P6 again. Soul Demon is up to P7 again. A lot of big names dropping as we near the halfway point of this race. And look how quickly Jumpy Painter is closing that gap. He is now right behind the Red Bull. Is he going to have a go into turn 3? He's going to send it up the inside. The kicks out by Jumpy Painter, wheel to wheel with Lennons as we fight it out for the race lead. A bit of contact between the two as Jumpy Painter struggling for traction, and Lennons is going to stay ahead of the Kicksawa for a little while longer. And Jumpy Painter is going to have to try again at a later point in time. Still dragging Parzival with him. The gap towards Sketchy Grip is 8.5 seconds. Oh, 3-second time penalty for Jumpy Painter. Don't send it up the inside there. Oh, for one moment I thought I was going to end in tears as well between these two. But fortunately he backed out of the move. Just letting know that he's there. But that 3-second time penalty could cost him. Look how much he's gaining towards turn 1. Last lap as well. Seemed much more confident through turn 1. But he just doesn't have the straight line speed to put a real attack on Lennons. Parzival is now fully closed the gap as well again. And Jumpy Painter very aggressive on throttle out of turn 3. No DRS of course. which makes it a little bit more difficult to overtake. Race settling down a bit now. The halfway point. Lap 18 of 36. Rain is getting a bit heavier now again. There was an icon of heavy rain forecasted as Jumpy Painter drifting through the final corner. So it's definitely going to take a while before it's going to dry back up. But in the final 5-10 laps or something like that, Sky is now got ahead of Sketchy Grip, so he's now got 2 Williams drivers right behind him. 3-second penalty for Kieran. Sketchy Grip up the inside into turn 3, re-overtakes the Haas. And he gets ahead. Sky trying to go for the switchback, but Sketchy Grip parking the bus on the exit. Nothing Kai can do to re-overtake. Bourne also having a look on the inside, now on the outside. Trying to find a way past. He has in front. On to lap 20 we go. Lennon's still in the lead of this race but for how much longer? Jumpy Painter putting the pressure on. Surely he's close enough now to try and go for the move. He's having a look, but the Lennon's just has so much straight line speed. But Jumpy Painter now sends it up the inside once again. We go wheel to, but the outside line is preferably the one you want to take here. It's much easier to defend as you can put the throttle down earlier, as the car on the inside will have to take the tighter line. The car on the outside can carry much more speed. Soul Demon is on the charts. He's almost going for a triple overtake there. He's got Bob Bjorn a few moments ago. He's now got Kai as well and Sketchy Grip now as we go wheel to wheel. Soul Demon on the outside, Sketchy Grip defending successfully, stays in front, but Soul Demon is back in position to get a good result in this race. Potentially P4 now, surely not on the inside of turn 7. Having a go, but just can't find the grip to do so. These 5 cars in such close contention. Soul Demon has already got ahead going into the penultimate corner. And he's up to P4. But the gap towards the cars in front is 12 seconds and he's got a 3-second time penalty, same as Sketchy Grip. Meanwhile, Alpha Wall has found the grass. And Parzival now gets ahead of Jumpy Painter, or does he? Jumpy Painter very late on the brakes. And now with that outside line, has better traction. And re-overtakes the McLaren driver, who's also seeking his first win. And that is Sky now having a look off the inside of Sketchy Grip. But that line wasn't the best. And Critical Skills on the exit gets past Kai almost into the wall, as I think there was a bit of contact between the two of them. Critical Skills now back into P7. Got caught up in that incident with Tolu a few laps ago. But he's finding his feet again. And he's still in this train in the battle for P4. And 2 cars in front of him have got a 3-second time penalty. So a top 5 finish could be on here for the Aston Martin driver. Lennon's somehow still holding on to this lead. Jumpy Painter close as ever on the exit of turn 1. But Red Bull just has that straight line speed advantage. There's nothing Jumpy Painter can do to try and get past. Both Kainzon and Sapphire have gone into the pit lane. Sapphire is serving a 10-second time penalty, I think. And is that a full wet for Kai and Sun? No, I think that's a set of intermediates. Rain is getting more significant. But it is a new set of intermediates for the Alpine. They don't last forever, so could it be a 2-stop on Inters? Parzival dropping behind a little bit, and that is Lennon's going wide, and that is Jumpy Painter up the inside into the final corner, wheel to wheel through a corner where you normally don't see cars going wheel to wheel through. They have tried it regardless, and Lennon's ending up off track. But Jumpy Painter now is our new race leader with 14 laps remaining. Can he now build a 3-second gap? Kai, he's got a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as more drivers start pulling into the pit lane. For a brand new set of intermediates. Tolu and Zimniak swapping positions. Tolu in P12 again. But he was in contention for the win earlier on in this race. Still something happened. I still don't know what. Parzival is got ahead of Lennons because Lennons is pulling into the pit lane on lap 23. Parzival and Jumpy Painter continuing on, while our former race leader pulls in on lap 24 for a brand new set of intermediates. We maybe see a little bit of an undercut, or are we going to see drivers trying to make it all the way to the end on one set of intermediates? I'm not sure what the tire wear is like in these conditions. But they have been on intermediates for quite a while now. 17 laps to be precise. And it's going to be a tough task to make it to the end. Yellow flags are out though, and that is Sapphire has gone off in the penultimate corner. Kai gets past Critical Skills, but Critical Skills with a beautiful switchback gets back ahead of the Haas. He's up to P9. Did he pit as well? Yeah, he did. Last lap. So he's now on a brand new set of tires as well. And Kai with a 3-second time penalty in turn 4. That's an interesting place to get a track limit. Parzival now into the pit lane. But for a moment Soldin was going to go in as well, but it's just defending against Boyern. The other Williams though, Sketchy Grip is pulling in. However, is Parzival gonna come out compared to Lennon's? The Red Bull for sure is gonna get ahead, and he is. By how much though? That's quite a gap towards Parzival. I think it's 3.5 seconds with the undercut. Sketchy Grip comes out behind Critical Skills. Now also fallen back behind Kai. Kai also pitted, but 2 laps earlier. Left Kick Sauber now with a 1-2. And Jumpy Painter is finally going to come in at the end of lap 25. I think that's a big enough gap between himself and Soldim. Oh, Lennon's now with a 3-second time penalty. That is going to affect this race. Oh, watch out there with Sly DJ pulling into the pit lane. This has now become an on-track fight between himself and Jumpy Painter. And I think the Red Bull has successfully completed the undercut. He has, he's come out ahead. Jumpy Painter behind Kieran. who is on 12 lap old intermediates. Bit of a buffer for Lens. So only Soul Demon and Boyern have stayed out. And Kieran has yet a bit as well. We have got 10 laps to go, and it doesn't look like it's gonna dry up anytime soon. So it might just be a race to the line in these conditions. Quite heavy rain as well. Soul Demon drifting to the penultimate corner. That was so close as he almost spun around. And he does have to hand over the lead to Boyern though. Tire wear must be getting to him now at this stage. Kieran into the pit lane as his teammates picking up a 3-second time penalty. Only a handful of drivers without a penalty. Boyern, Parzival, Toto and Wardy. And Parzival, he's got a real chance of winning this race. He's within 3 seconds of Jumpy Painter. Not to Lennons though, but Lennons could be getting held up a bit there by Boyern and Soul Demon. Parzival, who qualified on pole last week in Bahrain, but then disconnected at the start, which put him out of contention for the win. He had to settle for P7, I think, or P8. Len got this. It's gonna be tricky because he's got Jumpy Painter right behind it, but we know that the Red Bull is quick in a straight line, at least with the setup. But he's now in a sour sandwich, so could Soul Demon play any role in this? Here comes the Red Bull though, as Kieran has left the session. Lennon on the outside of Soul Demon, almost running into the back of Boyern, and that is Lennon going off track. And when he rejoins, is he going to be ahead of Jumpy Painter? Still so close between these two. I think that was going to be illegal overtake for Lennons. Sees him drop behind both kick Saubers. That is very unfortunate, but he does clear Soul Demon quite quickly though on the exit of turn 4. But that is now promoted Jumpy Painter into the virtual lead of this race with a 1.2 second advantage over Lennons. Boyern surely is still yet to pit, or is he going to try and stay out? It looks like it. He is not got a 3-second time penalty, and Jumpy Painter is already trying to get past. On the main straight, the kick Sauber is gonna inherit the race lead on track. Jumpy Painter, your new race leader on lap 29 of 36. Boyern has been demoted to second place. Then it's Lennons in the Red Bull, but he's 1.5 seconds behind his rival in this race, Jumpy Painter. And was that the deciding moment for the race win? Potentially, but yellow flags are out. I'm not quite sure for who. It might have been Critical Skills, I think it has, because he is missing an end plate. He's got front wing damage. The Aston Martin, what has happened to Critical Skills? Down to P9. His teammate is disconnected. It's all falling apart for Aston Martin. Unfortunately, Lou has Kai all out of shape through turn 5, trying to stay in front of Sketchy Grip. That is Parzival getting past Soul Demon, who is going to the pit lane. He can't make it to the end. Boyern still continuing on, hoping for a safety car and hoping that his tires hold on, because P4 is on the cards here. He knows that Lennon's and Parzival will be much quicker. The Red Bull gets past. Lennon's back up into second place, but Boyan with the inside line looking to re-overtake, but he just doesn't have traction on these worn out intermediates. Jumpy Painter now has got a 2.5 second gap towards the Red Bull of Lennon's. And it's nearing 3 seconds, so Jumpy Painter could even get another 3-second time penalty and still probably be able to win. But anything can happen, still 6 laps to go. It's over when it's over. Soul Demon on brand new tires. Quite easy to get past Tolu. And he's now back into the top 10. And Kieran ahead of him. He is disconnected. And the car in front of Kieran, Critical Skills, has got front wing damage. So Soul Demon could gain quite a few positions in these final few laps. Possibly all the way up to P5 with Kai. So I have to keep an eye out on Kick Sauber, our championship leader. Sly DJ is retiring in pit lane, despite running into the points. Retirement number 5. While Jumpy Painter has built a gap of over 3.5 seconds. It looks like Sauber is the team to beat. Many said before the season that Mercedes had the strongest lineup, with Tier 4 champion Sly DJ and Tier 3 champion, 2 times Tier 3 champion, Jesus. But Soul Demon has won last race, and Jumpy Painter is on course to winning this one. Both of their cars inside the top 10, and Soul Demon could still get a few more positions. He is going to get ahead of Kai. He's got a 13-second time penalty, and probably ahead of Zimniak as well. But it could be P6, which are still very good points. Boyan is doing an incredible job on these intermediates. 25 laps. While the rain has finally decreased. But it's too late for a dry stint now. I don't think Boyan is going to be able to hold on to that podium position. But given that he dropped down the order after fighting at the front end for the race win, climbed his way back up into a podium position, he should still be very proud of the end result, which will likely be P4 as soon as Parzival finds the way past. Yellow flags right once again, and that is Zimniak. He's gone off in turn 6. Quite an odd place to go off. Another penalty for Caius. Zimniak almost spinning out once more. But there goes Parzival. He has got ahead of Boyan. And he's on for a very solid podium position. And if he gets on with it, could potentially secure second place. The gap is over 3 seconds. If he gains a few tenths, he might be able to get within that 3 second. Yellow flags out. Zimniak, safety car deployed. Safety car has been deployed. This race has been thrown onto its head. What a place to crash, by the way, Zimniak, but this race, I thought it was going to be decided with 3 laps to go. The Jumpy Painter must be very frustrated now, because his gap towards Lennon's will be gone. His gap towards Parzival and Boyan will be gone, and Parzival and Boyan have got no 3 second time penalty. Boyan is going to pull into the pit lane, of course. He's been on these intermediates for 35 years now. Parzival stays out, but Parzival knows that he just has to stay within 3 seconds. Is that someone on on the softs? It is Alpha Wall onto the soft compound tire. What a gamble. Might as well down in P14. The only thing is though is that he is a lap down. And he's also not very capable of keeping it on track right now, as it's definitely not time yet for the slicks. Safety car in this lap. Ooh. Well, Bart's lucky that Alpha balls into the gravel, but and he's also very lucky because he's gonna close the gap before the safety car goes in. This will be a three-way fight between Jumpy Painter, Lens and Parzival. Parzival has the advantage because he is got without a 3-second time penalty, while the two cars in front of him do have that penalty hanging above their head. Sketchy Crip and Boyern are also closing in, so Boyern still in a potential chance of the win. But we go back to green flag racing. We've got 2 laps to go. Are these two gonna fight each other? That's the question. Sketchy Crip and Boyern. No, they're not. Boyern is being given clean air to try and chase after Parzival, because that is his rival right now. What he needs to do is finish out of Parzival. If he does that, he is your winner. Jumpy Painter leads, but at the moment it doesn't really matter, because Parzival has to stay just within the 3-second window. That's all he needs to do with 1.5 laps remaining. Parzival might actually have this in the bag. Just keep it on track, son. I said earlier that Sauber might be the team to beat. They still are. But Jumpy Painter might not be winning this race. Let's keep an eye out on the interval towards the race leader. Surely not. Jumpy Painter is gaining quite quickly on Parzival. That Parzival has got a 1.3 second margin right now towards Jumpy Painter. We're on the final lap of this race. Jumpy Painter leads, but 1.7 seconds will not be enough. .7 seconds will not be enough. Only a handful of corners remaining. There's nothing Jumpy Painter can do to win this race. He has tried his best. It was looking likely that he was gonna win this race a few laps ago, while his teammate Sol Demon has now just spun off. Jumpy Painter is gonna go into the penultimate corner and into the final corner, and he will cross the line in first position. Jumpy Painter crosses the line first. Lennons crosses the line second, but Parzival is your race winner. Parzival wins the Austrian Grand Prix ahead of Boyern and Jumpy Painter. Wow, what an ending to this race. Absolute scenes in Tier 3 once again. Lennons has to settle for P4. Sketchy Crip in 5th. Sol Demon in 6th. 2 Alpines of Toto and Kainzon. A disappointing result, but didn't have much influence on the outcome, unfortunately. Had their own incidents, their own troubles. But Parzival, with a bit of luck, is your race winner in Austria. What a comeback story after last week Bahrain Grand Prix, where he got pole position but got disconnected on the opening laps. Not this time. He is your winner. He kept it within the white lines, and the same could be said for Boyan, who went for the ultimate gamble, and it did pay off. Parzival also with a point for the fastest lap. From P8 on the grid is your winner. Boyan in second. Dennis Jumpy Painter, Lennon's Sketchy Grip, Soldemon, Todo, Kindson, Kieran, Critical Skills, Wardy, Kai, Sapphire, Alpha Ball, Zimniak, Sly DJ, Kind, Fuel, Search for C, Hasa, and Bello Boton. That is your top 20. But man, what a race have we witnessed here. It's hard to pick out one driver today. I can't lie. With everything that has happened. I mean, Parzival did get lucky with that final safety car. But anything can happen at any point. And he had the best cards because he kept it within the white lines. So well done to him and the drivers on the podium. Sure was a chaotic Grand Prix. What an end. Gonna take a moment to settle down from that one. But that's it for tonight. Next week we will return to the Middle East for round 3, the Qatar Grand Prix at the Losail International Circuit. I'll be back then. But for now, this is it. And I'll see you guys next time. Have a good evening. Goodbye.